One life is not enough. Part 19. In March 1967, the Svetlana incident caused a slight dent in Indo USSR relations. Svetlana was the daughter of Joseph Stalin. She fell in love with Brajesh Singh, a committed communist who had lived in Moscow for many years. Brajesh Singh then fell seriously ill, and doctors recommended a shift to a warmer climate. He was not permitted to return to India. So Brajesh Singh stayed in Moscow where he died. Svetlana, however, was permitted to come to India to immerse Singh's ashes in the Ganga River. On 23rd March 1967, the American ambassador Chester Bowles brought a memo for Indira Gandhi, which Svetlana had given to a member of American embassy on 6th March. He requested the Prime Minister to look at it. Indira Gandhi told the American ambassador that the Soviets were putting the blame on India for allowing Svetlana to leave India. On 7th March, Svetlana had lunched with the Russian ambassador and asked if she could remain in India. Her request had been promptly rejected. The ambassador had handed back her passport and an air ticket to Moscow and had asked Svetlana to leave the next day. Svetlana then got into a taxi and drove to the US Embassy to seek asylum. She was persuaded to take a flight to New York. The Soviets were furious, and our ambassador in Moscow was given a dressing down by Foreign Minister Andrei Gromyko. In July 1967, the Prime Minister's secretary L.K. Jha was appointed Governor of the Reserve Bank of India. Jha was replaced by Parameshwar Narayan Haskar. For me, it was a welcome change, for I had not warmed up to Jha. He had not taken kindly to my joining the Prime Minister's Secretariat without his being consulted. Haskar was a forceful character with a powerful intellect. He inspired us with his Nehruvian vision of India and his ability. Ideologically, he was left leaning, and in his youth, he had been an active communist. Within a few months, Haskar made the Prime Minister's Secretariat the most powerful institution in the government of India, reducing the authority of the Cabinet Secretariat. Soon he became the Prime Minister's closest confidant and advisor. Haskar also helped create the Research and Analysis Wing RA, India's first ever foreign intelligence bureau. By the end of 1967, he was the most powerful civil servant in India. But the Prime Minister's troubles within her party did not cease. The economic scenario was far from satisfactory. While the Green Revolution had changed the agricultural scene, the food situation was a constant worry. The worst hit state was Bihar, where there was acute famine. The Prime Minister visited Bihar and also travelled to Ponar near Muzaffarabad. She also met the architect of Bhudan movement, Vinoba Bhave. I also accompanied her. She met Jayaprakash Narayan. Driving through the countryside, I was distressed to see the havoc that the famine had inflicted on the people of Bihar. Indira Gandhi enjoyed foreign trips. Her elegance, sang-froid, sophistication, and ease of manner impressed one and all. Wherever she went, she was greeted with cheers, even enthusiasm. In September October 1967, the Prime Minister went on official visit to Poland, Bulgaria, Romania, and Yugoslavia on the advice of Husker. These were satellite states of the Soviet Union, but each had a distinct profile and all of them held India in high esteem. At the end of the East European tour, the Prime Minister spent 2 days in Cairo, during which she held extensive discussions with President Gamal Abdel Nasser. Israel had inflicted lethal blows on Egypt during the Six-Day War in June 1967. Nasser had offered his resignation after the defeat, which was not accepted. He was the tallest Arab leader, vastly popular, and much respected, if not admired, by the Arab countries. For Egypt, he was indispensable. He appreciated Indira Gandhi coming to Cairo as a gesture of solidarity. He desired closer relations with India and suggested that the two countries should collaborate in the areas of manufacturing and strengthen import export ties. Nasser also explained that Arab attitude towards Israel. He insisted that there was no possibility of any Arab state recognizing Israel. In 1968, Nasser visited India. A reception was held in his honor at the Red Fort in New Delhi, at which the Egyptian national anthem was played. Later, Nasser told the Prime Minister that the band had played the wrong anthem. They had mistakenly played the anthem from King Farouk's time, who had been deposed in the 1952 revolution led by Nasser. Nasser died of a heart attack in 1970. He was 52. Israel's comprehensive victory in the Six-Day War had affected Nasser in the same way that India's defeat in 1962 at the hands of China had affected Nehru. Mrs. Gandhi was the first Indian Prime Minister to visit South America in 1968. The trip lasted 3 weeks. During his visit there, the British ambassador to Argentina asked his Indian counterpart, "How much did you spend on collecting such large crowds to welcome your Prime Minister?" The answer was, "Not a penny." Most South American countries knew little about modern India. Many even assumed that Indira Gandhi was the daughter of Mahatma Gandhi. People were curious to see a female Prime Minister from India, a country of snake charmers and rope tricks. In each capital, she spoke of the Indian freedom movement, our foreign policy, with particular emphasis on Kashmir and the economic problems of developing countries. We can face them not merely with idealism, not merely with sentimentality, but clear thinking and hard headed analysis, she said at the University of Buenos Aires. A pleasant diversion in Buenos Aires was a meeting with Victorio Ocampo, a poet and editor of the well known Spanish literary magazine Sur. Rabindranath Tagore had stayed with her for 6 weeks in 1924 at her Hugo's estate, San Isidro, outside Buenos Aires. She had translated Gitanjali into Spanish. He wrote some of his most lyrical poems on his voyage back to India. Mrs. Gandhi, in her capacity as Chancellor of Viswabharati University, made her an honorary Doctor of Literature. Victoria was now old with failing eyesight. I was more than glad to meet so celebrated a lady. In several South American universities, Tagore's poems were read and taught. Mahatma Gandhi's statues were installed in at least 4 countries of South America. When the Soviets violated the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Czechoslovakia in June 1968, Mrs. Gandhi did not condemn them publicly. However, she conveyed her discomfiture through diplomatic channels. This was appreciated by the Soviet leaders. During the Bangladesh crisis, they supported her and made sure that China did not intervene on Pakistan's side. I visited the Soviet Union twice to hold discussions with the Foreign Minister of Russia, and I could not help but reach the conclusion that the nation was a genuine friend of India. Thank you very much.